Heya, and welcome to the second part of my HDR workflow tutorial. In this video we'll be looking at loading bracketed photos, briefly discuss deghosting options, and then merge the finished product to a .hdr file. If you'd like to follow along, there will be a link in the description to the raw files I used to make this series of videos, along with links to other videos in the series. I'm going to assume you have at least a basic knowledge of what an HDR photo is, and how to shoot a set of bracketed photos. The method of merging I'll be showing you today is the most commonly used, and the one I'd recommend for just starting out with HDR processing. To begin, make sure you know where your set of bracketed images are, and then go to File, Load Bracketed Photos. You can either drag the set into the box, or use the Browse button to add your photos. You only want to add one set of bracketed photos at a time. In this case, I've taken 3 photos at 2 EV steps apart. I'm going to leave Show 32-bit Unprocessed Image checked, as I'll be tone mapping in the next video, and I will hit OK. If you've watched the first video, these options will mostly look very familiar, but I'll run through them quickly. Aligning source images will align the bracketed photos to make up for camera movement between shots. The shots I'm working with were taken on a tripod, so I'll leave it on the Taken on Tripod setting. If you are shooting HDRs freehand, you want to use the handheld setting. I leave Include Perspective Correction checked, and the maximum shift at the default. You want to leave Show Options to remove Ghost checked, as well as Noise Reduction. I generally use Noise Reduction on the underexposed image only, and at maximum strength, and I leave Chromatic Aberration Reduction on. You can adjust your white balance here, although that is best done either in your camera or when you can look at the image while adjusting. I'll leave it as shot and the primaries as Adobe RGB, since the next step after Photomatix will be Photoshop. Once everything is set up, we will align and show deghosting options. This screen is something I'm just going to touch on quickly, although I'll come back to it in a later video. In this particular shot, there isn't much ghosting to be worried about, so I would just set it to automatic deghosting and leave it at none. You can adjust the overall level of ghost reduction in automatic mode, as well as setting one of the bracketed shots as a reference shot as to where objects should be in the frame. Your other option is selective deghosting, which I'll cover in a later video, but can be very useful on occasion. Once we are happy with our settings, we will hit OK. And after the bar fills up, we will have our HDR file. We can go to Save As, set a location, and save our shiny new HDR for the next video, where we'll be using the Details Enhancer for tone mapping.